So as I said, I'm here in my capacity as the Programme Manager for the Psychiatry Consortium, which I'll tell you a little bit about today. But I'm also here as a representative for the Medicines Discovery Catapult, which is a UK-based government-funded drug discovery organisation that manages several drug discovery collaborations. And that's really what I'm going to be talking to you about today, and how drug discovery in the neuroscience landscape has changed and how we're hopefully moving towards a more collaborative model of drug discovery. So in order to really understand where we are now, I think it's quite important to look back and set the scene and see how where we've come from in terms of psychiatric drug discovery. And as I'm sure most of you know, this all really started with that boom in the 1950s, when the discoveries of those early antidepressants, antipsychotics, lithium, that really catalyzed that golden age of drug discovery for psychiatry. And we've had many new discoveries since then. We've had second generations and new antidepressants, but really we've not really generated anything that has any improved efficacy over those original discoveries. We've done an awful lot in terms of reducing side effects and making these drugs more tolerable to patients. But we've not really managed to get any better relief of the core symptoms for many diseases. And in some cases, in the likes of autism or the cognitive symptoms associated with schizophrenia, we've not really got any drugs at all that can help those patients. So with this, there's been this long gap between the 1950s and 60s and now, where we've not really had any improvements in efficacy, nothing really novel has come out, and yet we've had this huge advance in technology and our understanding of biology, which hasn't really been matched by that, that boom that we'd expected to see. So we've had all of these genetic techniques that have emerged, which we had hoped would then lead to this sort of hand-in-hand increase in our ability to discover new drugs, but unfortunately that hasn't quite happened. So what has been going on in the intervening time? Well, I think it's fair to say that there's a general consensus that in the UK in particular, there's been a reduction in psychiatric drug discovery over the last 30 years or so. But what's really happening is that we've seen a real shift, and it's not necessarily that such a drastic story as all big pharma has pulled out of psychiatric research. It's just not the case. It seems that actually what's happened here is that we've had, yes, there has been a reduction in investment in in-house discovery in most large biopharmaceutical companies. But in parallel, we've actually also seen an increase in small, medium businesses and an investment in their in-house drug discovery capabilities. So rather than a general decrease, maybe potentially what we're seeing here is actually a shift. And we've also seen that there's been rather a lot of investment in outsourcing and collaborative working with contract research organisations, CROs, and also academic drug discovery centres. So it seems actually that we've had much more of a move from big pharma operating in silos and conducting their own individual research programs to actually a much more open innovation approach with more pre-competitive collaborations and a more complex multi-party cross-sector approach to drug discovery. So this is great. Collaboration is always good. But this has also actually resulted in quite a bit of a fragmentation of the drug discovery landscape. SMEs by their very nature are small, they have to be focused, they have to be highly specialised in what they can deliver. And they're also quite reliant on funding as well. So that means that they are not really in a position to take a drug from early discovery all the way through that drug discovery pipeline. So large pharma still do have a really important role to play. They are still the only ones that are really able to take a drug throughout the whole pipeline. And they are key players and necessary partners. In May this year, the Psychiatry Consortium partnered with the Psychiatric Genomics Consortium to do a deep dive into the challenges facing the drug discovery landscape in psychiatry at the moment. We workshopped the challenges and opportunities available to us with key opinion leaders from across the world, from the fields of neuroscience, genetics, psychiatry. We had representatives from charities and patient groups as well. So we tried to get a real 360 view on what the problems are and how we can attempt to work towards solving them. And the three main things that came out of that report was that actually in this current landscape, yes, there's been a huge advance in genetic studies. So GWAS has been a huge boom in that in the last couple of years. But actually what we really need here is a more sophisticated understanding of how we interpret those genetic studies and how we can, in a sophisticated manner, look at those genetic associations in a meaningful biological context. Another key point was that drug discovery must be patient-led from the very beginning. We always need a clear line of sight to the clinic. And psychiatric disorders in particular are so heterogeneous. So approaching target validation from the perspective of these desired clinical endpoints is really the only way to go if we want to be able to focus on phenotypes rather than whole disorders. And that will then provide an opportunity for us to translate findings that we have early on and ensure the success in their translation all the way through to the clinic. Finally, another key topic that we discussed was that preclinical drug discovery really needs better models. We need better preclinical in vitro and in vivo models to give that real proof of concepts that you need to trigger a drug discovery program. So this report is available on the Psychiatry Consortium website, so you can go on there and download that full report and see all of the topics that we discussed and all of the potential opportunities that we found. But the one thing that really came out from this discussion was that collaboration is really, really key here. So why? Why is collaboration key? Why does collaborative drug discovery in particular make a lot of sense? Well, I think we have truly moved away from the silo approach to research in general, not just drug discovery. And the real benefit here is that by having this team science approach, we enable a 360 perspective, multi-level approach to a problem, and it enables us to bring together the expertise and then focus it in one direction rather than that scattered approach of lots of partners doing different things. It's also essential that we bridge the gap between academia and industry, and collaboration in the early stages is really the only way to do that. By doing that early on and working together right from the beginning, we can ensure that collaborations and trust is built up right from the start so that these projects can be done to industry standards right from the beginning and are ready to be handed over to do that later stage clinical drug discovery that must happen within an industry setting. And like all relationships, they need to be built on trust and have good communication. So by collaborating in this way, we can foster future work together by building that basis of trust and ensuring communication from both parties. So we get a really good understanding as an academic, you know what pharma and funders and those in the clinic want from early to drug discovery and early target identification. And that communication is two-way. So we're really encouraging open and honest collaborations. At the Medicines Discovery Catapult, we have a syndicate model which provides this innovative approach to collaborative drug discovery. And the reason that this works so well and is so key to how we work at Medicines Discovery Catapult is that it is patient-centered, and we put the patient and the disease at the middle and at the heart of the drug discovery effort. So we bring together patients, clinical experts, innovators from academia, industry, investors, everybody involved with the key focus that the patient perspective is in the middle. and we then allow that to drive these drug discovery initiatives forward. We have three models at the moment, three syndicates, I should say, at the moment. Cystic Fibrosis Syndicate in Antimicrobial Resistance, a Hearing Medicines Discovery Syndicate, and of course the Psychiatry Consortium, which I represent. We're not the only ones working in this way. This approach is sort of standard for many consortia in this space. The Psychiatry Consortium is in fact based on the Dementia Consortium, which operates very similarly. I've already mentioned the Psychiatric Genomics Consortium, who are an academic-led group. There's a Structural Genomics Consortium. There are all sorts of groups of people that are bringing together expertise from various sectors and moving forward collaborative drug discovery, particularly in the psychiatric space, because this is a difficult area to work in. All of these initiatives, particularly the ones that Medicines Discovery Catapult runs, brings together everyone in one space with the patient at the centre. So a little bit about the Psychiatry Consortium. This is a strategic collaboration of two medical research charities, Alzheimer's Research UK and MQ Transforming Mental Health, in collaboration with 6 leading pharma companies and 2 contract research organisations, Evotec and Charles River. It's managed by Medicines Discovery Catapult and supported by the Wellcome Trust. And this acts as a syndicate in the real literal sense of the word, in that partners jointly fund and therefore share the cost and risk associated with early stage drug discovery. And I'm sure, as any of you working in this space know, drug discovery in psychiatry is a very risky endeavour. And so anything we can do to collaborate and mitigate that risk and bring together all of that expertise, I think is definitely a good thing. The Psychiatry Consortium was established in response to that challenge that I mentioned earlier, in that there is a lack of novel targets, the validation is really difficult to do, and of course there has been a significant reduction in investment in this space of late. And yet we believe that at the moment there is a real opportunity to turn this around. We do have an increased understanding of biology of psychiatric disorders. There is all of this emerging genetic data that we can take advantage of, and there is renewed pharma interest. So you can see the bottom of this banner, we've got 6 pharma partners involved. All of these people are actively working and committed to this space. That interest is there, which means the funding is also potentially there. So we bring all of this together really in this consortium to focus all of our energy and expertise in robustly validating new therapeutic targets for psychiatric disorders. And as well as providing opportunities for funding, we also try to go that one step further and have initiatives such as this meeting today, where we provide opportunities for bringing the community together, enabling collaboration, and really showing an exchange of that industry know-how. We have funding available, so if there's anybody in the audience that is looking for funding in this space, do look on our website, all of our information is there. The next call for funding will be in October. And we will have, we'll be open to global applicants from universities, research institutes, SMEs, for projects up to £1 million. And we are mainly looking to fund projects that are preclinical, focused on the validation of new drug targets. So this is a global approach. As I said, we're open to applicants across the world. And we've had one call so far. We're in the middle of another call at the moment. But in our first call, we've already engaged with 367 universities across 38 countries. So hopefully this demonstrates that, yes, we are, particularly in this presentation, talking about the UK landscape, but actually this collaboration in order to reinvigorate UK research space and the psychiatric drug discovery space in general needs global collaboration, and we are very happy that we are facilitating that, as you can see by the number of people that we're working with across the world. And we're really hoping that we can be at the centre for the Psychiatry Consortium of this shift towards innovative drug discovery. And we really do believe that this model that we have, by putting the patient at the centre with our charity links and the work that we're doing to understand the patient need, and by combining the funding and the expertise and the knowledge of industry with the expertise of academics who sit at the very beginning of that drug discovery pipeline and understand the disease biology better than anyone else, we're really hoping that we can bring all of that together to provide the step change that is required to reinvigorate psychiatric drug discovery. We're hoping that we're able to provide that link to the patient. As I said, everything that we do within the syndicates at Medicines Discovery Catapult puts the patient at the centre of our drug discovery efforts. And we're also quite confident that this model provides an efficient way to validate novel targets. What we've created here is a vehicle for industry to work with academics on these early drug discovery targets, and then provide the means, the support and the techniques and the people to efficiently then go on through that validation stages. Throughout all of the work that we're doing as well, we believe that we're going to have a really great understanding of what makes a good target, both from the academic perspective of understanding the target biology and what that means, and also from the industry and the funder perspective of what is the commercial interest in these areas and how are we going to be able to shape and really understand that full picture of drug discovery landscape in psychiatry. We're also going to get a real understanding of the data required in order to take that target and translate it to the clinic. So what are the key questions that we need to ask? How do we answer them? All of those things that we need to be able to set up these drug discovery programs to head them into the right direction and ensure the most chance of success for their translation to the clinic. So that's a sort of whistle-stop tour of where we're at the moment and what the Psychiatry Consortium in particular is trying to do in this space. But do feel free to contact us if you'd like any more information. You can visit our website, which is there on the screen. You can also contact us via email through our contact form, or book a phone call with myself if you do have a project that you think you would like to apply for funding. And that next call will be up in October, so do feel free to book a meeting in with myself and I'd be happy to talk to you about your research. And also sign up to the mailing list. As Jo said right at the beginning when she introduced this session, we're really keen to do further events like this. We do have some more planned in the pipeline. So if you enjoyed today, which I really do hope you do, then please do sign up to that mailing list so that you can participate in future events of this sort. Yeah, thank you. That's all from me.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Laura. We've got a question that's come in online. I think we have time for a question. So this is referring back to your areas of kind of need of focus that you presented at the beginning. So speaking of better preclinical models, is there still a place for classic preclinical monoamine research in psychopharmacologic drug discovery?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think absolutely. I think what the Psychiatry Consortium is particularly geared up for is for looking at novel targets. So our particular interest in terms of taking projects forward and funding them, we probably as a group wouldn't be interested in sort of re-looking at the existing targets for the monoamines. But in the wider context of psychiatric drug discovery, then yes, absolutely. And I think some of the speakers are later going to talk about that sort of the depression space and drug discovery in that area. So I think that question might be better answered a little later on as well.
Okay, and one more question is whether the programme is interested in the repurposing of off-patent drugs.
Yeah, so unfortunately we don't look at repurposing drugs. We're particularly interested in generating novel chemistry. So what we would be looking to do is look at novel targets that we're then able to validate, If that off-patent drug could be used as a tool in order to do that, then absolutely we would look at projects that would use them, an off-patent existing drug in that way. But we're not specifically looking to repurpose existing drugs, no.